In the dark void beyond known space, an alien scout ship obliterates a silent human probe, unaware that its actions will awaken a sleeping storm. As silence falls, the human fleet watches coldly, preparing a devastating response. The fragile arrogance of the aliens soon clashes with the lethal calm of humanity, setting the stage for a reckoning few could survive. They never sent us a warning. The words crackled in the comm channel, raw and fractured, like a distant echo from a dying star. Commander Ellis sat alone on the bridge of the Vigilant, eyes locked on the flickering sensor grid before her. Space was a cavernous tomb, empty, silent, except for the ghost of what had just happened. The scout ship was gone, or rather the scout ship was destroyed, not by the humans. No, humanity had only watched. The alien vessel, arrogant and reckless, had taken it upon themselves to annihilate the Phoenix, the lone scout drone drifting at the edge of their system. A silent observer carrying no weapons, no threats, just a message of peace and inquiry. Now it was reduced to nothing more than radioactive dust. A thin smile flickered across Ellis's lips, bitter and cold. They think this is a game. Outside, the stars glittered indifferently against the abyss. The cold emptiness was a perfect mask for the fury brewing beneath. The Alien Council had always regarded humanity as a curiosity, a primitive, savage species unworthy of interstellar diplomacy. But now, with their reckless act, they had lit a fuse they couldn't extinguish. Commander Ellis glanced toward the massive viewport, where the execution fleet, 700 warships strong, waited silently in orbit around Earth. Each vessel was a testament to human engineering and brutal efficiency, bristling with weapons that could level entire worlds. Yet not a single shot had been fired. Not yet. The room held its breath, a charged quietude hanging like a blade in the air. Admiral Voss entered without ceremony, his presence filling the chamber. His eyes, cold and unreadable, met Ellis's with a sharp intensity. "They don't understand what they've done," he said, voice low, controlled. Ellis nodded. "They destroyed our scout, a peaceful envoy. The Council thinks it's a warning to us, proof of their dominance." Voss's jaw tightened. "They're about to learn the cost of arrogance." From the corner of the bridge, a deep hum resonated. The Phoenix's final transmission, barely intelligible, still echoed faintly in the comm system. A fractured code of coordinates, a half-finished message, a plea for understanding now forever cut short. Ellis stared at the screen, as if it held secrets beyond the void. "You're not ready for what we buried." The room fell silent again, heavier this time. Outside the viewport, the execution fleet shifted position with ominous precision, an unspoken threat made manifest. The balance of power had shifted in an instant. The galaxy's pretenders had just awoken a silent god. "They thought we were alone," Ellis whispered. "They never looked beneath." The first missile launched from Earth in hours would be the last mistake the Council ever made. Expanded scene and emotional beats, Ellis's voice trembled, not from fear but from contained rage. The scout's destruction was a message. We are the masters here. But the humans had secrets buried deep beneath their homeworld, secrets forged in blood, steel, and endless nights spent preparing for just this moment. The Council's arrogance was cosmic in scale. For centuries, humanity had been ignored, dismissed as savage anomalies. Yet humanity thrived in their silence, building, improving, evolving. Their true power was a myth to the galaxy's elite, a tale whispered by terrified survivors who encountered Earth's hidden armada and lived only to regret it. Admiral Voss raised a hand, and a holographic map projected between them. A lattice of blinking dots showed the Council's fleet positions. They're vulnerable, overconfident. Their fleets are stretched thin. Ellis's gaze hardened. It's not just about firepower, it's about the message. We don't negotiate with killers, we execute. Her hand hovered over a crimson button labeled Execution Fleet Deploy. The weight of it pressed into her soul, a decision that would trigger a war that would echo across stars. "Stand ready," Voss commanded. "The next move is theirs." Ellis swallowed, the last embers of restraint flickering away. The galaxy had decided to cast humanity aside, to treat them as relics of a brutal past. But the humans had answered, not with words or diplomats, but with steel and silence. The countdown was invisible, but no less real. In the dark void beyond known space, an alien scout ship obliterates a silent human probe, unaware that its actions will awaken a sleeping storm. As silence falls, the human fleet watches coldly, preparing a devastating response. The fragile arrogance of the aliens soon clashes with the lethal calm of humanity, setting the stage for a reckoning few could survive. They never sent us a warning. The words cracked through the static in the comm channel, raw and fractured, like a distant echo from a dying star. Commander Ellis sat alone on the bridge of the Vigilant, her sharp eyes locked on the flickering sensor grid before her. Space was a cavernous tomb, empty, silent, except for the ghost of what had just happened. The scout ship was gone, or rather the scout ship was destroyed, not by the humans. No, humanity had only watched. The alien vessel, arrogant and reckless, had taken it upon themselves to obliterate the Phoenix, the lone scout drone, drifting silently at the edge of their system. A peaceful observer, carrying no weapons, no threats, just a message of inquiry and cautious goodwill. Now it was reduced to nothing more than radioactive dust drifting in the void. A thin smile flickered across Ellis's lips, bitter and cold. "They think this is a game. They couldn't be more wrong." Outside, the stars glittered indifferently against the abyss. The cold emptiness was a perfect mask for the storm brewing beneath. The Alien Council had always regarded humanity as a curiosity, a primitive, savage species unworthy of true interstellar respect. But now, with their reckless act, they had lit a fuse that could not be snuffed out. Commander Ellis glanced toward the massive viewport, where the execution fleet, 700 warships strong, waited silently in orbit around Earth. Each vessel was a towering monument to human engineering and brutal efficiency, bristling with weapons that could level entire planets without hesitation. Yet, not a single shot had been fired. Not yet. The room held its breath, a charged quietude hanging like a razor's edge in the air. Admiral Voss entered without ceremony, his presence filling the chamber like a shadow. His eyes, cold and unreadable, met Ellis's with a sharp intensity. "They don't understand what they've done," he said, voice low and heavy with menace. Ellis nodded. "They destroyed our scout, a peaceful envoy. The Council thinks it's a warning to show dominance." Voss's jaw tightened until it seemed his teeth might shatter. "They're about to learn the brutal cost of arrogance." From the corner of the bridge, a deep, haunting hum resonated. The Phoenix's final transmission, barely intelligible, still echoed faintly in the comm system. A fractured code of coordinates, a half-finished message, a plea for understanding now forever silenced. Ellis stared at the screen as if it held secrets beyond the void. "You're not ready for what we buried." The room fell silent again, heavier this time. Outside the viewport, the execution fleet shifted position with ominous precision, an unspoken threat made manifest. The balance of power had shifted in an instant. The galaxy's pretenders had just awoken a silent god. "They thought we were alone," Ellis whispered. "They never looked beneath." The first missile launched from Earth in hours would be the last mistake the Council ever made. Expanded scene and emotional beats. Ellis's voice trembled, not from fear but from contained fury. The scout's destruction was a message. We are the masters here. But the humans had secrets buried deep beneath their homeworld, secrets forged in blood, steel, and endless nights spent preparing for just this moment. The Council's arrogance was cosmic in scale. For centuries, humanity had been ignored, dismissed as savage anomalies, yet humanity thrived in their silence, building, improving, evolving. Their true power was a myth to the galaxy's elite, a tale whispered by terrified survivors who encountered Earth's hidden armada and lived, only to regret it. Admiral Voss raised a hand, and a holographic map projected between them. A lattice of blinking dots showed the Council's fleet positions stretched across the sector. They're vulnerable, overconfident, their fleets are scattered thin. Ellis's gaze hardened like steel. It's not just firepower. It's the message: we don't negotiate with killers, we execute. Her hand hovered over a crimson button labeled Execution Fleet Deploy. The weight of it pressed deep into her soul, a decision that would trigger a war that would echo across the stars for centuries. Stand ready, Voss commanded. The next move is theirs. Ellis swallowed hard, the last embers of restraint flickering away. The galaxy had decided to cast humanity aside, to treat them as relics of a brutal past. But the humans had answered, not with words or diplomats, but with cold steel and absolute silence. The countdown was invisible, but no less real. As humanity's execution fleet prepares to strike, the Alien Council reels from confusion and dread. Their overconfidence cracks, revealing deep fractures in their alliances and command. Meanwhile, the human command uncovers unsettling intelligence. Ancient secrets beneath Earth's surface, hinting at a power far beyond conventional warfare. The fragile veil of alien superiority shatters, and a ruthless war of attrition begins. The Alien Council's chambers were a dizzying cathedral of cold glass and flickering hollow screens, orbiting a distant dying star. The assembly was tense, fractured, whispers and hurried commands rippling like a storm beneath the polished surface. "What have we done?" the Councilor Naris hissed, eyes darting across the communications logs. The destruction of the scout was meant to be a demonstration of strength. Instead, it ignited a response that shattered centuries of complacency. His counterpart, Councillor Vielle, shook his head. "They had no business observing us. The humans are unpredictable. Their silence hides a volcano waiting to erupt." On a massive central screen, a live feed displayed the Earth orbit, the gargantuan human fleet, dark and unyielding as a steel tempest, now shifting with ominous precision. 700 ships, ships that had once been dismissed as primitive relics of a forgotten age. Councillor Naris's voice cracked, barely above a whisper. "They are not what we believed. The execution fleet, it is a nightmare we have invited." Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's crust, in a fortified subterranean command center known only to a select few, the Human Intelligence Unit sifted through. Recent sensor data and recovered alien transmissions intercepted during the probe's final moments. Captain Mira Wren stared at the swirling patterns on her display, ancient star maps, encoded warnings, and a cryptic phrase repeated in fragments. The shattered veil. "Is this some kind of myth?" her second-in-command asked, voice tense. Mira shook her head slowly. "No, it's a warning. A legend buried in the darkest corners of their history. The veil isn't just symbolic, it's a real boundary, a line between what they knew and what humanity has become. The message hinted at dormant technologies and forgotten alliances buried under layers of cosmic history, things that could turn the tide far beyond the fleet's conventional might." And the war room above, Admiral Voss absorbed the report, his grim face unreadable. "This is why we prepared for centuries in silence. The true battlefield isn't just in orbit or space, it's beneath our feet and in the minds of those who thought us weak." Ellis stood beside him, eyes burning with determination. "The Council's arrogance is crumbling. They underestimated the depth of humanity's resolve and our reach." Suddenly the ship's alert systems blared, a sharp cacophony of warnings as alien scout drones slipped through human detection grids, probing for weaknesses. But every maneuver, every scan, was met with ruthless precision. The execution fleet was a living fortress, moving as one. Still, the Council's desperation was mounting. Naris's fingers trembled over the command console. "Recall the fleets. Send diplomats. We must buy time." Vile's voice was colder, edged with fear and fury. "It is too late for that. We ignited the fuse. Now we pay the price." Back on Earth, the humans prepared their final moves, deploying specialized strike teams, ready to unleash weapons calibrated not only to destroy fleets, but to fracture the very fabric of alien power. Beneath the surface, an ancient energy pulsed faintly, a reminder that humanity's war was not merely of technology, but of heritage and survival. The shattered veil between the known and the unknown had torn, and on both sides, no one could say how long the war would rage or who would emerge from the ashes. As the execution fleet tightens its grip around Earth, humanity prepares for the first devastating strike. Meanwhile, alien factions fracture, paranoia spreading like wildfire. In the shadows, humans unveil a weapon of terrifying precision, one that will turn the tides far beyond conventional warfare. The galaxy braces for a war that will reshape alliances and legacies alike. The endless blackness of space was no longer silent. The execution fleet had begun its dance of death, a slow, deliberate tightening of the noose around the alien systems. 700 warships, sleek and merciless, moved as a single organism, a storm waiting to break. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Commander Ellis stood tall, the glow of the starfield painting sharp shadows on her determined face. Every sensor ping was a heartbeat, every flicker on the tactical display a reminder of the fragile balance between life and annihilation. "Status report," Ellis demanded. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew across the console, eyes darting over. "Incoming data streams. Scouts report multiple enemy squadrons shifting positions, attempting to probe our perimeter. All intercepted and neutralized with minimal losses." Ellis nodded grimly. "Good. Let them come. They'll find nothing but silence and steel." In the council chambers, cracks deepened. Councillor Vile's voice was tight with tension as he addressed the assembly. "The humans have moved beyond diplomacy. Their fleet is a fortress. We face an enemy we cannot outgun or outmaneuver." Whispers turned to murmurs, the once unified front dissolving into factions arguing for survival over honor. In a dark corner of the council's war room, Councillor Naris pulled a battered datapad close, studying schematics of unknown technology, recovered from an ancient site deep within human territory. "They hide more than warships," he muttered. "They wield powers beyond our understanding. This shattered veil, it's real, and it's coming for us." Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, Captain Mira Wren watched as technicians activated the core of a secret project, an array of quantum disruptors designed to fracture alien command networks with surgical precision. "This is more than a weapon," Mira said softly. "It's a statement. We will dismantle their control, strand their fleets in chaos." The hum of the disruptor array pulsed through the chamber, faint but undeniable, an echo of power long dormant, now awakened. Admiral Voss entered, eyes sharp with resolve. "We hold the advantage, but it's fragile. One misstep and everything collapses." Ellis turned to him, voice steady. "We don't make mistakes, not this time." The human fleet's shadow cast across the void was a warning etched in steel. Every move was calculated, every strike measured. As the first salvo launched from the execution fleet, silent, deadly, and precise, it tore through alien defenses like a blade through silk. Explosions blossomed against the black backdrop, and across the galaxy, centuries of arrogance began to crumble. The execution fleet's devastating first strikes unravel the alien system's fragile cohesion. Command fractures, paranoia spirals, and desperate gambits unfold as ancient Earth technologies awaken terrifying forces beneath the surface. Humanity's war transcends firepower, becoming a relentless battle for cosmic survival and legacy. The void shattered with echoes of annihilation. The execution fleet had ignited the first salvo, a symphony of destruction precise enough to carve through alien defenses like a scalpel. Command outposts burned, communication networks imploded, and once impenetrable fleet formations fractured in a storm of chaos. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Commander Ellis stood statuesque, her gaze fixed on cascading holograms that illustrated a galaxy unraveling. Each burst of light marked a fallen enemy position, each blink a command center silenced. "Status report," Ellis demanded, her voice a blade of calm in the storm. Lieutenant Chen's hands moved rapidly over his console, face pale with the scope of devastation. "Command nodes have collapsed. Enemy fleet coordination is dissolving. Panic is escalating rapidly among their forces. Multiple factions are breaking away." Ellis's lips curved in a thin, grim smile. "Good. Fear cuts deeper than any weapon." Far from Earth, the alien council's chambers echoed with frantic debate and whispered accusations. The once commanding voice of the council now fractured under the strain of loss and uncertainty. Councillor Vial's tone was ragged, a harsh whisper dripping with anger. "Deploy all remaining forces. Shield the core worlds. We cannot afford to lose them." Councillor Naris's pacing quickened, his face shadowed by dread. "We underestimated them. Thought humanity was a relic of a savage past. Instead, we unleashed a storm." In the dim corridors beyond the main hall, rumors swirled, whispered secrets of ancient, forbidden Earth technologies. Weapons of unimaginable power, unearthed from forgotten ruins, and now wielded with ruthless intent. The shattered veil was no myth. It was the source of humanity's strength, a cosmic relic of power buried beneath their homeworld. Deep below the surface, Captain Mira Wren supervised the activation of secondary quantum pulse arrays, devices designed not just to disable, but to utterly sever alien gravitic drives, leaving their ships stranded, powerless in the vast cold. "This will break their mobility," Mira said, voice low and resolute. "They won't know what hit them." Admiral Voss joined her, the heavy burden of command etched into every line of his face. "They believed us weak. Now they see the price of ignorance." In Earth's orbit, the execution fleet executed flawless maneuvers. Swarms of stealth drones slipped past alien patrols, sabotaging supply lines, crippling repair stations, and sowing confusion with surgical precision. Each strike was not just destruction, but a message, a warning etched in fire and steel. But the battle exacted a toll. Human vessels bore scars, laser scars, twisted metal, crews pushed to exhaustion. The relentless tempo tested even the most seasoned. Ellis's voice cut through the tension like steel. "Hold formation. We are the storm the galaxy will never forget. Our rise is silent, precise, and unstoppable." Yet within the alien ranks, the unity dissolved like ash in the wind. Factions splintered, commanders doubted, and paranoia festered. Old rivalries flared anew as fear gnawed at the foundations of their once mighty empire. The galaxy stood on the edge of an abyss, uncertain if humanity would emerge as saviors, destroyers, or something altogether different. Beneath the shattered stars, a war unlike any other had only just begun. The execution fleet's relentless assault fractures alien command into chaos, while human forces awaken ancient powers hidden beneath Earth's crust. As alien factions vie for survival, humanity's cold strategy reveals a deeper, darker intent, a reclamation of dominion that echoes through time and space. The war escalates beyond technology into a battle of legacies. The dark void trembled with the echoes of war. The execution fleet pressed forward, each strike a calculated blow designed not just to weaken, but to dismantle the alien systems from within. Command centers exploded, supply chains ruptured, and fleets lost cohesion in the ensuing chaos. The galaxy's once mighty conquerors found themselves adrift, fractured into rival factions, scrambling for survival. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Commander Ellis surveyed the unfolding devastation with the detached gaze of a hunter. The holographic battlefield shimmered before her, a swirling storm of red and blue, of destruction and retreat. "Report," she ordered, voice calm yet resolute. Lieutenant Chen's fingers flew across his controls. "We've isolated 3 main faction leaders attempting to regroup near the Helios Nebula. Their communication links are unstable. The quantum disruptors beneath Earth have severed half their fleet's navigational systems." Ellis's eyes narrowed. "Good. Cut off their escape. No mercy." Below Earth's surface, Captain Mira Wren stood amid the hum of the ancient chamber where the full power of the shattered veil was awakening. The energy pulsed beneath her feet, an ancient force of unknown origin, waiting centuries for this moment. "This power," Mira murmured, "is the key to our future." Admiral Voss entered, his face grave yet tinged with anticipation. "They think our strength is in numbers or weapons, but it is in what we protect below, the legacy that no enemy can touch." High above, the alien council crumbled under pressure. Councillor Vile's voice cracked as he pleaded for unity, but old grievances and fear poisoned their ranks. The galaxy's once unified command shattered, and rogue commanders began secret negotiations with human factions, desperation opening doors to betrayal. Back on the Vigilant, Ellis allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. The war was more than a battle for territory. It was a reckoning of histories, of legacies buried in shadow. "The galaxy never saw us coming," she whispered. "And now they'll never forget." Outside, the execution fleet moved as one, silent, relentless, unstoppable. The echoes of dominion had begun. Amid fractured alien empires, humanity's hidden power surges like molten fire beneath Earth's surface. As desperate alien forces launch brutal counterattacks, human command unveils a terrifying new weapon, one that will rewrite the rules of war and tip the cosmic scales irrevocably. The galaxy trembles as the war's dark veins pulse with unyielding fury. The war had become a living inferno. Above Earth, the execution fleet blazed a path of destruction through shattered alien defenses. Ships exploded like distant stars dying, their fiery remnants trailing smoke in the endless black. The alien fleets, once confident and coordinated, now fractured into desperate pockets of resistance, scrambling to survive against an enemy they no longer understood. Commander Ellis stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, her silhouette sharp against the cold glow of tactical displays. The weight of command bore down on her, but she carried it with the quiet authority of someone who had long accepted the cost of victory. Scans show multiple enemy warbands regrouping near the Cepheus Rift, Lieutenant Chen reported urgently. "They're preparing for a counterstrike," Ellis nodded. "We expected as much. Alert all squadrons. Prepare for incoming assault. We won't just survive this, we will crush them." Beneath the surface, deep in the heart of Earth's secret fortress, Captain Mira Wren watched the shimmering veins of energy pulse through the crystalline conduits feeding the shattered veil. The power was raw, ancient, and awakening. "This energy," Mira breathed, "it's the lifeblood of our resurgence." Technicians hurried to calibrate the new weapon systems, quantum destabilizers capable of ripping apart enemy fleets, not just physically, but by unraveling the very bonds that held their ships together. Admiral Voss joined Mira, eyes reflecting the fierce glow of the energy. With this, we don't just fight, we unmake. As alien warbands launched savage attacks, the human fleet responded with ruthless efficiency. Swarms of drones swirled like storms, disabling enemy ships before they could fire. The battlefield became a deadly chessboard, each move calculated to devastating effect. Meanwhile, the alien council's remnants grew paranoid and fractured. Councillor Vale accused rivals of betrayal, while secret factions negotiated in shadows, offering alliances to the humans in exchange for survival. Ellis's voice came steady over the comms. "We're not interested in bargains. We seek only victory." The war had evolved from a clash of fleets to a battle of wills, technology, and legacy. Every pulse of the shattered veil beneath Earth echoed through the stars, a promise that humanity's fury was just beginning. The war rages fiercely as alien factions spiral into chaos, their desperate strikes met by humanity's relentless, calculated counterattacks. Beneath Earth, the shattered veil pulses with growing power, its ancient energy fueling weapons that defy comprehension. The battlefield becomes a crucible of destruction and survival, where every choice echoes with the weight of extinction or dominion. Space was stained with fire. Explosions ripped through the darkness like novas, tearing the fabric of the void. The execution fleet carved a brutal path, relentless and merciless. Alien warbands, desperate and disorganized, launched fierce counterattacks, trying to turn the tide before it was too late. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Commander Ellis watched the holographic battlefield pulse with deadly light. Her face was carved from stone, unyielding even as reports of heavy losses streamed in. "Enemy squadrons massing on Vector Delta 9, Lieutenant Chen warned. "They're launching kamikaze strikes against our forward platforms." Ellis's jaw tightened. "Hold the line, use the disruptors, target their command ships first." Below, deep in Earth's hidden vaults, Captain Mira Wren and her team monitored the growing energy of the shattered veil, the pulsing light of the crystalline. Conduits seemed to sync with the rhythms of the battlefield above. This power, "It's alive," Mira whispered, awestruck. "It reacts to our will." Technicians fine-tuned the quantum destabilizers, weapons that bent reality to rip alien ships apart at their core. The energy hummed with a raw, almost sentient force, a weapon forged not just from technology, but from the ancient legacies of Earth itself. Admiral Voss entered, his eyes shadowed with the burden of command. "This war will test us all. Our resolve, our sacrifice, our humanity." Ellis nodded, her voice steel. "Then we show them the cost of underestimating humanity." Across the fractured alien command, Councillor Vile's paranoia deepened. Betrayals were whispered in every shadow. Old alliances crumbled as desperation drove enemies to make dangerous pacts, even with humanity. "Negotiations are futile," Ellis's voice echoed over intercepted comms. "This ends only with our victory." The war had become a crucible, a place where empires fell and legends were born. The shattered veil pulsed brighter beneath Earth, its energy a beacon and a weapon that promised to reshape the galaxy's fate. In the silence between explosions, one truth remained clear. Humanity's rise was unstoppable. As alien empires crumble under humanity's relentless assault, desperate forces unleash forbidden weapons that shake the very fabric of space-time. Humanity responds by wielding ancient powers hidden beneath Earth, escalating the conflict beyond anything the galaxy has witnessed. The old order dies amid ash and fire, while humanity's ruthless ascendancy reshapes the cosmos. The galaxy groaned beneath the weight of war. Alien empires, once proud and unyielding, now fractured like shattered glass drifting through endless night. The execution fleet pressed its advantage, searing paths of destruction across star systems once thought untouchable. Command nodes exploded in brilliant bursts, crippling communications and scattering fleets into chaotic fragments. On the bridge of the Vigilant, Commander Ellis watched the tide of battle with unflinching resolve. The holographic map flickered with bursts of light, marking victories and losses. "Enemy forces are deploying forbidden weapons," Lieutenant Chen reported grimly. "Temporal destabilizers, causing localized rifts in space-time." Ellis's eyes hardened. "We knew they had secrets. Prepare countermeasures. We can't let these rifts unravel our formations." Deep beneath Earth, Captain Mira Wren stood amid the humming crystalline conduits powering the shattered veil. The ancient energy flowed with growing intensity, responding almost instinctively to their commands. "This power," Mira murmured, "is rewriting the rules of engagement." Technicians worked feverishly, stabilizing quantum shields and enhancing disruptor arrays designed to counter the alien temporal weapons. The war was no longer fought with mere firepower. It was a battle to control reality itself. Admiral Voss approached, his expression grim yet determined. "The old order is burning, Ellis. We're witnessing the death throes of a galaxy that refused to see us as equals." Ellis nodded, voice cold steel. "Then we become the architects of what comes next." In the remnants of the alien council, paranoia twisted every conversation into accusation. Counselor Vael's voice, once commanding, now broke beneath the pressure of defeat and distrust. "They wield forces we cannot comprehend," he whispered. "Our empire is collapsing from within." On the battlefield, human fleets executed coordinated strikes, dismantling enemy fortresses while quantum destabilizers unraveled the fabric of alien technology. Swarms of stealth drones slipped through shadows, sabotaging supply lines and severing warp conduits. Yet every victory demanded sacrifice. Human ships limped home scarred, crews bore the weight of relentless combat. But the fire of determination burned brighter than ever. Ellis's voice rang out over the comms, unwavering. "Hold fast. The galaxy will remember the day humanity shattered the old order. This war will forge a new destiny." Beneath Earth, the shattered veil pulsed, a cosmic heartbeat syncing with humanity's unstoppable rise. The ashes of the old were scattered to the stars, and from them a new empire was born. Humanity's relentless assault pushes alien remnants to the brink of collapse, but desperation breeds deadly new tactics. As ancient Earth power floods the battlefield, alliances fracture and new players emerge from the shadows. The war spirals into a battle for ultimate dominion, one that will decide the fate of galaxies and echo for eons. The stars bore witness to a war that reshaped the heavens. The execution fleet surged forward like an unstoppable tide, breaking through the fractured alien lines with brutal precision. Each strike was surgical, each maneuver choreographed to perfection. The shattered fleets scrambled to regroup, but the weight of relentless assault crushed their hopes of recovery. On the Vigilance Bridge, Commander Ellis stood resolute, eyes narrowed at the tactical display. The swirling map marked enemy retreat points and vulnerable targets. "Status?" she demanded. Lieutenant Chen's fingers danced swiftly. "Enemy commanders are attempting last-ditch strikes, deploying cloaked frigates and plasma storm generators. The desperation is palpable." Ellis's lips pressed tight. "Prepare countermeasures. We finish this, no quarter." Deep beneath Earth's surface, Captain Mira Wren watched the shattered veil pulse brighter than ever, its ancient energy coursing through crystalline conduits and fueling humanity's cutting-edge weapons. "This power is limitless," Mira said softly. "It feeds off our resolve." Admiral Voss entered, a rare smile breaking through his usual grim demeanor. "We stand on the brink, not just of victory but of a new era." But beyond the front lines, new threats emerged. Scattered alien factions, unwilling to accept defeat, forged uneasy alliances with mysterious entities lurking in the shadows of the galaxy. mercenaries, warlords, and ancient beings awakened by the chaos. Their arrival threatened to tip the scales in unpredictable ways. Ellis's comm crackled. All units remain vigilant. The enemy grows more dangerous by the hour. The war had escalated beyond tactics and weapons. It was a battle of wills, secrets, and survival. As human and alien fleets clashed amid the stars, Earth's hidden power pulsed stronger. A beacon of dominion rising from ashes and fire. The galaxy's fate hung on the edge of a blade. As the war reaches its devastating climax, humanity's forces face their greatest test yet. Alien factions unleash forbidden technologies and desperate gambits, while hidden Earth powers surge with terrifying intensity. In the crucible of shadows, alliances shatter, sacrifices are made, and the fate of civilizations hangs by a thread. The ultimate battle for survival and supremacy will reshape the galaxy forever. Darkness stretched like a suffocating shroud across the battlefield. The stars themselves seemed to dim under the weight of the unrelenting conflict. The execution. Fleet had become an iron fist, crushing enemy resistance with a brutal combination of advanced technology and unyielding resolve. Yet in the shadows beyond the visible war, new dangers emerged. Ancient powers awakened, secret alliances forged in desperation, and weapons that bent the very fabric of reality. Commander Ellis stood alone on the Vigilance Bridge, her gaze distant but focused. The tactical displays flickered with chaotic bursts of red and blue, fleets clashing, worlds burning, lives extinguished. The weight of command pressed heavy, yet her resolve never wavered. Enemy forces are concentrating in the Oort expanse, Lieutenant Chen reported urgently, voice tight with tension. They've deployed gravitic disruptors, large-scale, weapons that could destabilize our fleet's formation. Ellis's jaw clenched. Divert power to shields and countermeasures. We cannot afford a collapse here. Below Earth's surface, Captain Mira Wren monitored the pulsating energy of the shattered veil as it surged in response to the mounting chaos. The ancient crystalline conduits thrummed with power, alive, sentient, and intertwined with humanity's own fate. This is no mere weapon, Mira whispered, awestruck. It's a living legacy, an extension of humanity's will. In the war room, Admiral Voss paced with a heavy gait. His voice was grim but determined. We face our darkest hour. The enemy has unleashed forces beyond our reckoning, but we must hold the line, no matter the cost. Suddenly alarms blared, a sharp cacophony signaling an incoming assault. Holoscreens erupted with visuals of cloaked enemy vessels materializing within striking distance. Ellis's voice cut through the chaos like steel. Battle stations! All hands, prepare for full engagement. The battle exploded into a cacophony of light and sound. Lasers sliced through the void, missiles streaked with deadly precision, and ships collided in blinding flashes. The execution fleet fought with the cold efficiency of a single organism, coordinated beyond any known warfare. Yet amidst the fury, betrayals unfolded. Alien commanders, desperate and broken, sought secret parley with human operatives. Offers of surrender, intelligence, even allegiance. Each act of treachery rippled across the fractured alliances, sowing distrust and bloodshed. Ellis's eyes hardened. We take no prisoners. This war will end with humanity's unchallenged dominion. Deep in the heart of Earth, the shattered veil pulsed brighter, its power a beacon in the storm. The ancient energy surged through quantum disruptors, warping space-time itself to dismantle enemy technology. The war had transcended steel and fire. It was a battle for reality. As ships shattered and empires crumbled, the crucible of shadows forged a new galactic order, one shaped by sacrifice, ruthlessness, and the unbreakable will of humanity. The final hour was near. In the war's final crucible, humanity unleashes the full might of the shattered veil, and The execution fleet, confronting desperate alien factions and ancient cosmic forces. Sacrifices carve a brutal path to victory, but the cost reshapes the galaxy's fate forever. A new legacy is forged, one born from fire, silence, and an unyielding resolve to claim dominion among the stars. The void thundered with the final echoes of war. The execution fleet surged forward in a relentless tidal wave, a steel tempest burning a path through the last embers of alien resistance. Billions of years of cosmic arrogance and empire-building crumbled like dust beneath the precision strikes of humanity's cold, calculating hand. Every ship, every weapon, every pulse of energy was part of a single living organism. Unyielding, methodical, merciless, Commander Ellis stood at the Vigilant's helm, the weight of 1,000 lives pressing on her shoulders, but her gaze was steady, unwavering. The holographic map projected before her shimmered with the final pockets of enemy resistance, isolated, desperate, but still dangerous. "We have reached the edge," Ellis said softly, voice heavy with both solemnity and fierce resolve. "This is the moment that will echo through history." Lieutenant Chen's hands moved rapidly across his console. "Enemy forces are converging at the Valorum Rift. They've deployed their last weapons, cataclysmic devices capable of tearing reality itself." Ellis's eyes narrowed as the tactical readouts showed distorted, twisting energy fields. "Prepare all quantum destabilizers at full capacity. We bring the final reckoning." Beneath Earth's surface, in the deep vaults carved from ancient stone and pulsating crystal, Captain Mira Wren and her team stood at the epicenter of the shattered Veil's power. The air thrummed with raw cosmic energy, a radiant pulse flowing through conduits etched with arcane symbols from humanity's lost epochs. Mira's voice barely rose above a whisper. "This is no longer just a weapon. It is the embodiment of humanity's will to survive and dominate." Technicians monitored streams of data as the energy grew exponentially, channeling through a colossal apparatus, an ancient artifact reawakened, capable of unraveling the fabric of space-time and obliterating entire fleets with a single pulse. Admiral Voss entered the chamber, the weariness of command etched deeply on his face. His voice was steady but thick with emotion. "Many brave souls will not see the dawn. Their sacrifice is the foundation upon which a new empire is born." Back in orbit, the execution fleet engaged in the final battle. The void erupted in a symphony of devastation. Laser fire lanced through the darkness, missiles streaked like falling stars, and ships collided in fiery explosions that illuminated the abyss. Alien warlords unleashed forbidden technologies, devices warping reality, creating temporal fractures and twisting gravitational fields. But humanity met these with the full force of the shattered veil, its ancient energy bending the laws of physics to protect and empower the fleet. Ships shattered, fleets disintegrated, and the war's fury rocked the stars themselves. Amid the chaos, Ellis's voice resonated over the comm system, a beacon of resolve piercing the storm. "Hold the line for Earth, for the future we fight to create." The shattered veil pulsed in radiant waves, sweeping across the battlefield with devastating effect, disabling enemy weapons, collapsing warped rifts, and shattering alien command networks. The last stands of the alien forces crumbled beneath the might of humanity's wrath. When the final explosions faded into silence, the galaxy lay broken and reborn. In the stillness that followed, humanity stood unchallenged, a new order forged in fire, silence, and unyielding will. The cost was immense, billions lost, worlds scarred, civilizations forever changed. But from the ashes rose a legacy, not one born from conquest alone, but from endurance, sacrifice, and an ironclad determination to claim their place among the stars. Ellis gazed out into the void, her heart heavy yet proud. "This is our dawn," she said quietly. "Our legacy is not mercy, it is dominion. The stars would remember, and humanity's name would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. With the war's brutal end, humanity stands as the undisputed architects of a transformed galaxy. Amid the ruins of the old order, survivors reflect on the cost and the price of dominion. But even as new empires rise, ancient mysteries linger beneath the stars, promising that this victory is only the beginning of a far greater journey. The war was over. A silence unlike any other settled over the vast emptiness where fleets had clashed, worlds burned, and legacies had been shattered. Commander Ellis stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, staring out at the sea of stars. The battlefield was quiet now, but her mind replayed the endless firestorms, the sacrifices, the echoes of fallen voices that still whispered in the spaces between stars. Around her, the execution fleet drifted in formation, worn, battle-scarred, but unbroken. The shattered remnants of once mighty alien armadas either fled into obscurity or surrendered, their empires reduced to ruins and ashes. Captain Mira Wren joined her silently, the glow from the shattered veil beneath Earth faint but steady, a living reminder of the power that had won this war. "We forged a new destiny," Mira said softly. "But the cost, it weighs heavy." Ellis nodded, her voice thick with emotion. "Victory is never free." In the quiet that followed, the crew honored those who would never see this dawn. Heroes lost to fire and shadow, whose sacrifices had built the path to survival. Yet even as humanity's dominion expanded, questions lingered, ancient mysteries buried deep beneath Earth's surface and in the distant reaches of the galaxy. What other powers slept in the darkness? What threats waited beyond the veil of known space? The galaxy had been reshaped, but the story was far from over. Ellis turned from the viewport, eyes blazing with resolve. "We survived the storm. Now we must become the storm." Outside, the stars shimmered, silent witnesses to humanity's rise. A new horizon awaited. In the wake of victory, humanity faces the daunting task of rebuilding amid ruins and unanswered mysteries. The shattered veil pulses as a gateway to new realms and forgotten powers. As alliances form and fractures remain, the galaxy's future is uncertain, poised on the edge of unprecedented expansion or deeper darkness. The end of war marks the true beginning of humanity's cosmic journey. The stars had grown quiet, but the galaxy remained restless. The Great War had ended, not with a whisper, but with a thunderous reshaping of the cosmic order. Humanity's dominion stretched across star systems, once ruled by ancient empires, now scattered like cosmic dust. Commander Ellis stood on Earth's orbiting command station, watching the glimmer of new colonies taking shape on distant worlds. The execution fleet, though battered, remained vigilant, guardians of a fragile peace forged through fire. Yet peace was no solace. Beneath Earth, the shattered veil pulsed stronger than ever, its radiant energy an enigma and a promise. Scientists and mystics alike gathered to unravel its secrets, aware that it was both a weapon and a gateway, perhaps to realms beyond human understanding. Captain Mira Wren's voice echoed through the vaulted chambers below. "This power saved us, but it could also destroy us." Diplomatic envoys traveled the fractured remnants of alien factions, weaving a new tapestry of alliances, some born from respect, others from fear. Trust was fragile, wounds ran deep. Councillor Vielle, once a fierce enemy, now sat at the negotiating table, his bitterness tempered by the grim reality of defeat. "We lost the war, but the galaxy is vast. Old gods and darker forces stir in the shadows." Ellis regarded him quietly, eyes sharp. "Then we prepare, not just to defend, but to lead. Amid the ruins of shattered worlds, explorers uncovered relics hinting at civilizations older than any recorded history, remnants of powers that transcended even the shattered veil. Theus. Galaxy stood at a crossroads. Would humanity become benevolent stewards or ruthless conquerors driven by ambition? The legacy of the war would ripple through generations, etched into the stars, whispered by survivors, and written in the unyielding silence of space. Ellis looked once more to the stars, a fire burning in her soul. "We have crossed the veil," she said softly. "Now we step beyond it. The true journey, the one that would define humanity's place in the cosmos, had only just begun." As humanity solidifies its grip on the galaxy, ancient cosmic threads begin to unravel. Forgotten alliances, hidden factions, and enigmatic entities awaken from the shadows. Personal sacrifices and political intrigues weave a complex web, hinting that the true struggle for eternity has only just begun. The saga evolves from war to the enduring quest for legacy. The galaxy breathed, slow and uncertain. Centuries of conflict had forged humanity into a force unlike any other. Yet beneath the surface of victory, new challenges stirred. Whispers of powers older than the stars themselves, of factions hidden in the dark folds of space and time. Commander Ellis, now bearing the scars of countless battles, reflected on the path that led them here. Victory had demanded everything: friends lost, ideals shattered, and a soul tempered in fire. She stood on the command deck of the Eternity's Edge, humanity's flagship and symbol of enduring resolve. Beside her, Captain Mira Wren studied ancient texts recovered from deep within the shattered veil, arcane writings that hinted at a cosmic web connecting all life. Bound by unseen forces and ancient promises, the war was but a thread in the vast tapestry, Mira mused. There are currents we have yet to understand. Political factions jostled for power in the newly formed Galactic Council, a fragile alliance born from war's ashes. Councillor Vile, once a bitter enemy, now served as a reluctant diplomat, his knowledge vital, his loyalty uncertain. In shadowed halls and distant outposts, whispers spoke of the Eternals, beings of immense power, guardians of cosmic balance, long absent, but now stirring in response to humanity's rise. As humanity expanded, explorers uncovered gateways, ancient portals hinting at realms beyond mortal comprehension. The shattered veil was only one facet of a deeper cosmic mystery. The threads of eternity stretched before them, intricate, fragile, and fraught with peril. Ellis and her closest allies knew this. Their greatest battles were yet to come, not of fire and steel, but of understanding, diplomacy, and the struggle to preserve a legacy worth inheriting. The galaxy was no longer just a battlefield, it was a living story, and humanity was its author. The stars watched in silence as the war's final embers faded into the vast cosmic night. Humanity stood at the summit of the galaxy, victorious, unyielding, and forever changed. Commander Ellis looked out from the bridge of the Eternity's Edge, the flagship that had carried her through the darkest storms and brightest dawns. The endless void stretched before her, a canvas of infinite possibilities. "We came from silence," she whispered, "and forged our place with fire." Around her, the shattered veil pulsed gently, a reminder of ancient power wielded and the cost paid in blood and sacrifice. The galaxy was at peace, for now, but peace was never quiet. It was a flame, burning eternal. From the ashes of war, humanity had risen, not just as conquerors, but as custodians of a new cosmic order. Legends would be written, stars would sing of their deeds, and echoes of their struggle would ripple through time. Yet beneath the triumph, a solemn truth endured. The greatest journey was never the war itself, but the path humanity would carve among the stars. Ellis closed her eyes, feeling the weight of countless lives bound to her will. Let this be the dawn of a legacy forged in fire and tempered by hope." The stars shimmered in reply, a silent vow that humanity's flame would never be extinguished. The galaxy was theirs to write forever.